So after I posted the video of my dream pedal board build, I got a lot of questions about how I actually set up and programmed the Boss ES-5. So I'm going to do a few videos, and this video is on how I programmed the MIDI with the Boss ES-5. Right now I have the ES-5 set up with 3 presets. The first one is a clean preset, which has the Strymon Big Sky turned on, the Strymon timeline turned on, and the Mobius is off. And these are all being controlled by MIDI. So as I switch from 1 to 2, I'm changing presets to a different reverb and a different delay. And I'm actually turning on the Mobius for this wet preset. Now as I switch over to my dirty tone, I'm turning off all of the Strymon effects and it's just the raw amp sound. So how we program these using the MIDI is we're going to go into this first preset. We go into our edit menu. We want to control the patch, so we hit enter. Now we want to scroll over to the right until we begin to see the MIDIs. So you see patch MIDI 1. Now there are 8 different MIDI controls that can be done per preset. So I have these set up that the Strymons are being controlled from presets 3, 4, and 5 because right now I'm using 1 and 2 to control the amp and some other controllers, but I come into MIDI 3 here and I hit enter. So the first thing it's going to look at is it's looking at channel 3. Now in my board, channel 3 is assigned to the Big Sky. And so these can be set through the global menus within the Strymon pedals, but each one of your MIDI pedals or anything that you want to control with MIDI using the ES-5 will have a MIDI channel. And so in this case, I am using it to control a program change of 1. And so if I were to switch that to program change 2, send the MIDI command, we'll see that the reverb changed on the Big Sky. Do the same thing, change it to 3. The PC or program control is controlling which preset I am loading. Now, depending on what pedals you are trying to change, you will either use program changes or CC, which is continuous controllers. Now, the Strymon pedals use both at the same time. So some pedals will take either program changes or CC changes. Some pedals will take both. So what I can do with the Strymon pedals is I can use the program change to control which preset I'm loading, and I can then also use it to, if we scroll to the right, we get another menu which has the controller 1 for continuous controller. Now 102 is the value for Strymon for turning a preset on or off. There are also different continuous controller controls to simply control each one of these presets. I can change the delay time or mix. Those are all have their own individual controls. But in order just to change presets and turn things on and off, you can see that I have a 102 here for that turns the effect, and then a value of 127, and so it will be either 127 or 0. So 0 turns this controller off. So if I wanted to turn this off, all I would have to do is go and scroll, hit this minus button on the ES-5, take this all the way down to 0, and once it hits 0, I simply send that command and it will turn off the Big Sky, which it just did. Now for this preset, I don't want to save this because I want to keep these the way they are, but I can now come in and change that preset back to 127. So every time I come to this preset, it's turning that this pedal on. So if it was coming from a preset like preset 3, which is just my dirty channel, each one of these is set to turn it on when it comes back. So this is the kind of the always on for the presets. Now, again, I can come in and look at a different value. So now I've got channel 2, which controls the timeline, and it's got the same thing, program change 1. So to move between each one of these options from channel, I'm just using these left and right buttons on the ES-5. And again, it's the same 102, 127 to turn that on. Now again, the Mobius is on the same way. Now on preset number 1, I have the Mobius turned off. It is just a delay and a reverb. So you can see that it's set to 102 and 0. So if we back out of this preset, back out of the edit mode, I didn't make any changes to the save. So switch over to preset 3. Everything is turned off. No lights are lit on these Strymon pedals. And as I go back to channel 1, the Strymon Big Sky and the Strymon Tie Line are now turned back on, and the Mobius remains off. So with each one of these presets, you have, again, 8 options in order to send MIDI to not only these pedals. I also use this to change a KHE amp switcher, or I send one of these actually into an amp itself, like the Rev 740, and I can actually change channels on the amp, and they have their own MIDI channel, and they have their own set of program changes or continuous controllers that I can use. So that's how we program the MIDI very quickly on the ES-5.